Hey everybody, welcome to Art and Experience, late start. So this is Art 100 WLS1, so that should be the section you're supposed to be in. In theory, you shouldn't be able to find this video if that is not your section, unless you're someone who just follows me on YouTube, who's not one of my students and just watches things, and if so, this is just a thing going over a syllabus, so it's probably not super exciting. But for those of you in my class, which I would think would be the people who would be watching this, welcome to Fall 2021 at OTC. We're going to talk about art this semester, and it's going to be rad. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just kind of go over this class and how everything's kind of set up so you can get an idea of how the semester is going to work. So what you see here is Canvas, which hopefully you're familiar with Canvas. If you're not familiar with Canvas yet, that's okay. I'm going to tell you how to use it. But because this is an online class, everything happens through Canvas. So Canvas and related applications to it, and also email. Very important that you check your email. I mean, always when you're enrolled in college, but especially when you're in an online class. So this is our landing page, and you have a little welcome message from me, and this video that I'm recording will be posted here soon. You can see there's not a video here right now, but there will be soon. So when you're in Canvas, the main thing that I want you to navigate by is the Modules tab. So when you click on Modules, you can see how the class is set up. You can also see that not all of the content is posted yet, because I don't really want you to work way ahead. I want you to keep in pace with the class. Let's go ahead and look over the course syllabus first, and then we'll go into some of the mechanics of the class. So over here on the left, probably familiar to most of you, you have all these links that help you navigate how the course is set up. For the last probably a year and a half or so, we've had the syllabus fully integrated into Canvas at OTC, so it's a little different than it used to be. So you click on course syllabus and it brings this up, and you can see all of the things, all that good information is broken down here for you. And because it's fully integrated, you can navigate by these little links on the right also. So this is an online class. We don't have a room number, right? And this is also an asynchronous class. So this is probably a term a lot of you have heard during the pandemic. So there's synchronous online classes and asynchronous classes. Asynchronous just means that we don't meet via Zoom. So we don't ever meet as a full group. We're doing everything on our own time clock, separate from each other, which is what asynchronous means, okay? So basically, everything that needs to be done in this class, I will have in Canvas on either a to-do list, so it'll pop up with a reminder on the side that you need to do something, or it'll be due, like it's an assignment. I also have a schedule built into the syllabus here that kind of goes over everything and when things are going to happen. So we'll get to that in a minute. To contact me, please use email. I know about half of you are going to totally forget that you ever heard that and are going to send me messages through Canvas. I will answer those, but I will answer them as emails. I don't really like the Canvas messaging system, and the reason for that is because we are a college, we're a education system in higher ed, we're governed by a set of regulations called FERPA, and those are good things. They protect your privacy. They're for protecting students, but because of FERPA regulations, if you ask me something about your grade, I can't tell you unless you're contacting me through your OTC email address or we're talking in person. Okay, so if you send me something from Canvas Messenger, or if you send me something from a Gmail or Hotmail or whatever other kind of email account, I can't tell you anything about your grade, okay? So to me, it makes much more sense for us to just use our OTC emails. So please contact me, rosenm@otc.edu. I'm generally pretty good at answering email quickly. I try to, during the week, get back to you within 24 hours. On weekends or when the school is closed for fall break or something like that, it takes me a little bit longer. It usually takes me maybe more like a couple days, but I try to respond within 72 hours in those instances. I am full-time at OTC, so I do have an office, and I do have office hours. So if there's something you want to talk to me about in person, or you just want to see what I look like face-to-face or something and you're on the Springfield campus, you can come by during my office hours. My office is in NKM and it's NKM 130. And my office hours are Monday and Wednesday, 12:30 to 3. If you come within that time frame, you don't necessarily have to have an appointment. Sometimes it's a good idea in case multiple students want to see me for something. I am teaching a lot of classes this semester, so I have a bunch of students. And then if those time frames don't work for you at all and you really need to talk to me outside of that time, email me and we can either set up a meeting in person at my office or I can set up a Zoom meeting with you and we can meet via Zoom. This class does not have a book, so you don't need a book, but what you do need are some materials because we are going to make some art. We're going to do some exercises in this class and they're listed here. The other thing that you need is you really need a working computer. So one of the neat things about OTC is you now can buy a laptop if you don't have one through the OTC bookstore. And since it's through the bookstore, a lot of your aid and things like that can apply toward that purchase. So that is an available option to you, and I like to let students know that. We also have computer labs on campus. We also have a library on campus with computers. So there's access to computers available to you on campus as well. But because this is an online class, you really need to have good computer access and good internet access. I'm not going to read you everything on here. You can read, you're in college, but here's the description of the course. I didn't write this. This is what's in the description of the course in the catalog, in the course catalog. Objectives, outcomes, pretty normal stuff. You're probably familiar with Core 42 at this point. This is one of our goals for outcomes, which is things like communication, higher order thinking, managing information, valuing. In terms of grading, I didn't post the breakdown in here. I'll post the breakdown, a little chart that has the breakdown of what your grade's composed of later today in the syllabus, so you can go back and see it. But it's a pretty normal grading guideline. You can see the A, B, C, D, that kind of thing. And basically, with this class, if you do everything, you'll be fine. So there's lots of little exercises, there's a couple of projects, there's a couple of test type or quiz type situations. And if you just do all the things and do your best, you'll be okay. You turn everything in through Canvas. That's probably more obvious for this class because it's an online class. I have all my seated classes turn everything in through Canvas as well, because all of your grades and your attendance and everything is through Canvas now. So to me, it makes more sense and it's more of a protection for both of us and more practical for both of us when you can see exactly what you've turned in, so it totally aligns with what your grade is in the class. So everything's turned in through Canvas. Academic grievance. So I try to be very approachable with my students, and if you think something's unfair or you don't understand something or you think I messed up your grade somehow, please feel comfortable contacting me. Reach out to me first. If you don't feel comfortable with that and you're upset about something or you think I've messed up your grade or something is wrong, I put right in the syllabus who my boss and my boss's boss are, basically. So my department chair, who's essentially kind of the supervisor of everyone in our department, is Kat Alley, and her contact information is here. And then I fall within the general education division of OTC, and so our general education dean is Dr. Renner, and his contact information is right here. Okay, so this is an online class, so attendance always is a little bit sticky for people with online classes. Even though this is an online class, you still have to check in every week and do the things. So you have to participate. I can see how often you are logging into the class on Canvas. Not only can I see it, our administrator, Dr. O'Connor, who's in charge of supervising things like attendance, can see it. So if you don't check in on Canvas, if you aren't participating, if you aren't doing assignments, if you aren't attending the class via Canvas, I will get an email from Dr. O'Connor saying, we're going to drop this person from your class. So you really need to keep up with it, okay? So just letting you know that just because it's an online class doesn't mean that you can blow it off, because there are things that happen. You have to be engaged in the class. So this is all the academic grievance and integrity. Don't cheat, basically. And one of the things I want to highlight with attendance is at OTC, we have a policy called administrative withdrawal. And if you've taken classes at OTC, you're probably familiar with this. So if you don't attend a class 14 days in a row, not just 14 of the days the class meets, but a consecutive 2 weeks of you not showing up, you will be removed from the class. And that's what I'm talking about. So if you aren't checking in for more than 14 days, they will just drop you from the class, okay? I generally, if I see that you're not checking in, that you're not turning things in, that it doesn't seem like you're participating, I will usually email you and kind of check in and make sure you're okay and see what's going on and how I can help. But that is a thing that pertains to online students as well as students in seated classes. Disability support services are really great at OTC. One of the things I love about teaching at OTC is we have really excellent student services across the board. It's a very student-first kind of institution. So if you need assistance related to disability support services, please check in with them. I've also linked all these other college resources here. OTC has really fantastic resources for you all. So there's all kinds of different sorts of support. There's free counseling services. There's we have Title IX office. We have help for pregnant students. We have support for members of the LGBTQ community. So if there is something that you're struggling with or need support with, there's probably a resource for it at OTC. Another resource that I think gets overlooked a lot is the library. We have these really fantastic librarians. If you go to the library page and click one-on-one research and tell them what you're studying, they will look up the material for you. They will help you do the research, literally. So there's lots of really great services, so I like to include that. The last thing I'm going to go over on the syllabus is the schedule. So I like to know what's going on in classes. I was a student for a long time. I'll tell you a little bit more about me in a minute, but I like to know what's going to happen. I think it's sort of anxiety easing to know what's going to happen. So I like to spell that out for my students on day one. So if you scroll down here, you'll see that I've put a schedule, and it has all of these days throughout the semester, kind of when things are happening. So most of these, because it's an online class and we're not meeting on these exact days, I know it has dates, but it's just the start date of the week. So it's kind of just organized by week and when things are due within the week. So I'll tell you what we're talking about that week and then what things are going to be due that week. So you can always look at this and have an idea of what's going on in the class. And this all coincides and relates directly with how it's organized on Canvas, but that's just like a little go-to list if you want that in terms of a schedule. It's subject to change a little bit. We might get a little ahead or a little behind and look at things a little differently. Oh, on the homepage, this is what I was talking about earlier. So on the right over here, you have this coming up that will tell you what's coming up, what's going to be due soon. And that's not always just things that are due that you have to like do an assignment to turn in for. It's also things like a lecture that you need to watch, for example. So let's go to the modules page because everything should be, you want to approach everything through the modules page. I disable the assignments page because when that's engaged, people try to do the assignments without watching the lectures or reading any of the directions and they screw them up and then they don't understand why they got a bad grade. So that's not a thing. You have to navigate through modules. So the way this is set up, it's in modules. So you have like introductions, pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to look at it a little bit in a minute. Our first module after that is called isms. This is about different kinds of the way movements and genres and time periods and kinds of art are talked about throughout art history. And it just gives you kind of an overview. So under a typical module, the first thing will be all the information. So for example, in isms, you click on this and scroll down and you see just a brief description of what's happening here, and then you'll have a lecture from me. Some of the lectures in this class, because it's an art appreciation class, it has a lot of crossover material with other things I teach. So sometimes the lecture that you watch will be a lecture that I recorded for an art history class or a drawing class or a foundations of design class. So if I address a different class than what you're in, it's not a mistake, it just covers some of the same subject matter because art and experience is kind of an overview of things in the art department. There's also a lot of things that I record specifically for this class. But when you click on this page with the title of the module, you have kind of an overview. So you'll have the lecture, sometimes there's more than one. You'll have an explanation of the assignments that are in this section. Okay, go back to modules. So We talk kind of in general about isms, then we go into the elements and principles of art, which are kind of the basic characteristics that govern how things are composed and how art is made. So we go through those. Then we're going to talk about different techniques related to art making. Drawing, then maybe a unit on painting, on printmaking, on photography, on sculpture, on fiber art, on performance and street art. And then we have our final project, which is going to be working on designing an exhibition, which is pretty cool. And there's a final exam, but it's kind of more of a quiz. It's all multiple choice, so it's not super tricky. Okay, so within each of these, when you click on the top descriptor of the module, you'll get an overview of everything in there. And then on the ones like, for example, elements and principles, there's also a subheading for each of the specific topics that has a lecture. Okay, so let's go back up to introductions. So for introductions, this is the first thing that I want you to do. And what you're going to do is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to introduce yourself to the class. So you're going to come in here and tell me some information about yourself. What's your name, especially if it appears differently than it does in Canvas, because some people go by middle names, some people have a different name that they go by. I have a couple of Jeffreys this semester that go by Jeff, that kind of thing. So tell me your name, tell me your pronouns, tell me your area of study, and that can be that you're doing a transfer degree, or that you're just doing your gen eds here, or you're doing your associates or something like that. And if you don't know what your area of study or what your major is yet, that's fine. If you have an idea of what you want to do after you transfer, if you are doing a transfer degree, maybe tell us that. Tell me where you're from, who your favorite visual artist is if you have one, and it's okay if you don't. You might discover one this semester when we talk about art and different artists. And then your favorite band or musician or someone you're listening to a lot right now. And the biggest one for me is your why. Why are you taking this class? And I know for a lot of you, it's because you need a humanities credit. And that's perfectly fine. That's totally reasonable. But why are you taking my class on art and experience for your humanities credit instead of, say, John's class about theater or Phil's class about music or something like this? What was it that drew you to this particular class? Why are you're at least a little bit interested in art, or you probably wouldn't be here. So what is the thing that kind of drew you in? Because that's very interesting to me, and it also helps me think about content for the class and how to touch on things that you're interested in. So here I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Oh, you can also post pictures of your pet or an artwork you like or yourself or anything like that if you want to. You don't have to. And then I want you to do a little scavenger hunt. So I want you to read everyone's post, and I want you to find at least one person that you have something in common with and comment on their post explaining what your connection is, what you have in common with them. So I'll go first. I'm Megan, and you can call me Megan because you're in college, and that's fine. So if that makes you uncomfortable, then you can call me Ms. Rosen or Professor Rosen or Instructor Rosen or any of those things. Not Mrs. Don't love that. My husband and I don't have the same last name, so it just kind of hits weird. So Ms. Rosen's fine, but Megan is totally fine. Please spell my name right when you email me. I know my name is spelled oddly, but it's right here so that you can look it up and see how to spell it. I use she, her pronouns, but I don't mind they, them. That's fine with me as well. In school, my area of study originally was art history. So I have a degree in art history, a Bachelor of Arts in Art History, which is a 4-year undergraduate degree. And I also studied fine arts and English, which I minored in both of those, and in global studies as an undergraduate. And then I have a Master of Arts in Studio Art and Theory. So that's an MA, which is a graduate degree, but it's not a terminal degree. Terminal degree does not mean a degree that kills you, though sometimes it feels like that. But especially for people in academia, generally people who teach at the collegiate level have what's called a terminal degree in their field. So for some areas of study, that's a PhD, and for some areas of study, that's an MFA. And so for my area, it's an MFA. So I have my MA, and then I have my Master of Fine Arts, which is my terminal degree, and that's in painting from California College of the Arts in San Francisco. So when I said earlier that I've been a student for a long time, that I was a student for a very long time and took a lot of classes, I mean it. I was in college for, 4, 3, so 7, 9 years. I was in college for 9 years and have 3 degrees. So I have some pretty experience-based opinions on how I like things set up, which is why I do things like give you the schedule for the whole semester, because that's a thing that I liked when professors did that. So I try to make things very student-based on how I work in the class. I'm originally from Springfield. I lived in California for a while I was in graduate school, and I've studied abroad in the UK and in Italy and in Germany. I moved back to Springfield in 2018. I have lots of favorite artists, but one of my very favorites is Helen Frankenthaler, who I have a picture of below here. I listen to lots of different kinds of music. When I typed this originally, I was listening to Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters a lot. Recently, I've been kind of revisiting Alanis Morissette because I saw her in concert in Arkansas recently. And why am I here? I'm teaching this class because introducing people to art and new ideas related to art is kind of my favorite thing. It's kind of like why I think I'm a person. Like teaching people and making art are sort of what I'm supposed to do, it feels like. So that's why I'm here. At OTC, I've been teaching as an adjunct here for a few years. This is my first year as a full-time person. So when I was an adjunct, I taught here, I taught at MSU, and I taught at Drury and sometimes at the Springfield Art Museum. So I taught lots of places and at the Missouri Fine Arts Academy. And now I'm full-time, so you have me all to yourselves. I just teach at OTC, which I'm excited about. I love teaching at OTC. I love my students here. And so here I teach Art History 1, Art History 2, Drawing 1, Drawing 2, Foundations of Design, and this class. So you can catch me in a lot of the different kinds of art-related subjects. Picture-wise, that's Helen Frankenthaler. She's a second wave abstract expressionist, who's one of my favorites. Here are my cats, and I need to update this because I have a dog now as well. So these are Mr. Mustachios, Uma the Puma, and Mimosa. And then I have a 7-month-old Rottweiler named Marcella Moose, Marcy Moose. That's a headshot of me from like a year ago. I changed my hair a lot. My hair might look different when you see me in this little bubble talking to you. Okay, so that's me. So then I want you to introduce yourself to me and to the rest of the class by posting in the introductions. The other first assignment besides the introductions post that we have is, I might go change that and make it where the modules page just is the home page. It might be easier. But the other thing is looking at art. So for looking at art, there's a video here, and this is a lecture that's not by me. It's a video with 2 art historians, and they're going to look at this famous painting and do a visual analysis of it. So they're going to talk about this painting and how to take in information about the painting without knowing anything about it first, okay? And then I also do a breakdown that has kind of what I see as the steps of visual analysis right here. And then I also have an infographic that's linked that you can look at that's about visual analysis. So I want you to watch this video, read these steps, check out the infographic, and then I want you to practice doing this yourself. So I have provided for you, this is being very slow. I don't know why it's being slow. So if you go back to the modules page in that first section under introductions, you have your introductions discussion board, you have this page about looking at art, and then you have an assignment that's called Looking at Art in Practice. And in that assignment, you'll see a piece of artwork, it's a painting, and I don't tell you any information about it. And what I want you to do is look at that and figure and kind of practice your own visual analysis of it. So you're going to, for the assignment, type out a visual analysis and submit it to me. And I know that you don't know who painted it. I know that you don't know much about the painting, and that's okay. And I don't want you to Google image search it because that's not really the point. The point is just practicing talking about a piece of artwork. And eventually I'll tell you more about the piece of artwork. Okay? So I don't know, this won't go back for some reason for me to show you that. I don't know why my computer's being tricky. But anyway, that's basically what you're going to do. And I am looking forward to getting to know you this semester. This is a really fun class to teach, and I think it'll be a great semester. So thanks a lot, and have a really good first week of class.